Good morning, YouTube. This is WhackMed19. Today I'm going to talk about what I think would make Call of Duty eSports better.
Kill confirmed.
So what I think that it is that Call of Duty eSports is missing is just a couple of things that would make it look more like a sport, because when you watch it now, it doesn't really look like a sport. Whenever you tune into a live event that are broadcast on Twitch TV, the events just don't look like a real sport. And these are, after all of the wonderful improvements, I understand that it's growing and these are growing pains and it's getting better and better every event that I watch, but there's still some improvements that I think could make it look more like a real sport, maybe give it some more validity in the world. One of the things that I think that would be a huge improvement is some stability. When you have what happened this week with all the roster changes after one tournament, this is not even the same team that we're cheering for anymore. There's only 4 people on the team, and if 25% of the team leaves, then it's a completely different team. And so solidarity, or stability rather, it would be huge. Maybe you have one person as an alternate and you have a 5-man roster. Maybe you even sub this individual in different games, or maybe not between games, but maybe to play this other team, or maybe you just keep him as an alternate for whatever reason. And I guess that could be the coach or whatever other role. It's a possibility, I guess. But maybe you just have him there in case something drastic happens and you need another player. But having the roster stay the same would be awesome. There are contracts for players, between players, the league, the teams, in every other thing that's called a sport. Why aren't there contracts in esports that say you're going to stay with this team, and you know, make them stay out for the whole season if they're going to change teams? And I guess there's always ways to get out of contracts, so this wouldn't be the world-ending thing if you had to trade a player, but make it where it's a trade as opposed to just releasing back to free agency, or maybe put a deadline on it like in other sports. Putting a deadline on it would require something, though. It would require a well-defined season. And I understand the Call of Duty comes out every November, and I understand that the tournaments run in particular times as they go through the year. But a well-defined season with regular matches, maybe exactly 1 month in between, or 2 weeks in between, or whatever the length could be, but define the season. And I understand this is not necessarily MLG that's doing this, or UMG that's doing this, but it's, you know, it's vendors, it's sponsors, it's venues that are putting it on that make these determinations. And that brings me to my next point. Have strict leagues where you play in a league because you bounce back and forth between, maybe they want to play in the MLG tournament this weekend, or maybe the UMG tournament the weekend after that, and maybe they want to play in Strictly Business Gaming's tournament the weekend after that. And there needs to be a strict league, because that's what you're watching, is a sport, and it should have a well-defined parameter of where the teams play. And this would make things great if you had maybe an Optic or an Envyus or a SBG that competed in MLG only and not in UMG. Or maybe they form one thing, like the American Football League and the National Football League eventually just became the National Football League, or maybe it was just one to the other. But anyway, it's not the point. When you only have one or only have two, at the end of it, you can put them against each other. Like, who always wanted to see the WCW wrestling champion go against the WWF, not WWE, wrestling champion? And that's what could happen. That could be a clear and defined winner, and that would be a benefit. That would be a plus. It would be a positive. And I understand there's a lot of people that also want this, but it goes on the list. It would make Call of Duty eSports more on the map, and it would make it better. Along with these implementations of strict leagues that you are a part of would be uniform tournament rules, because when you go to this event, maybe someone who's 18 is not allowed to play, and when you go to that event, this gun may not be banned, whereas it would be in a different league. And so uniform tournament rules laid out at the beginning of the season, and then maybe one opportunity to change after a period of time, would be fine. The NFL puts rules into play. The Major League Baseball puts rules into play, and they carry them the whole season. The whole season. And of course, they've got years upon years of having built those rules, so they know what to expect, and they know what their changes, or they can have a reasonable expectation of what the changes are going to be. But you got to have uniform rules that go throughout so that everyone knows what they are. And not only do you need to have uniform rules throughout, you need to have your codcasters telling people what these are, maybe before the matches begin. Each match, because some people only tune in to see complexity win again, or maybe they only tune in to see, their team show up to win, and maybe they don't see all of them. Another way to do that would be to put it as a screensaver whenever you're at break or between commercials, to give you some information. By the way, this gun is banned from the tournaments because it is overpowered, or because of whatever. Give a specific reason why these guns, this score streak, that equipment is not allowed in the tournaments, and let people know so that they don't have to ask the question if they're new to the sport why something is the way it is, because you don't want people to feel like noobs. Some of them are going to stick around and learn. Others are just going to be left out and feel out of place, and that's something that you would like to avoid to grow the sport. Also, to make it easier on the noobs, you need to make it easier to find the brackets, easier to find information on the tournament as it's going on. There needs to be a uniform place. Don't send me to 16 different websites for 16 different tournaments to try to find what the brackets are. Make one place to go and look for brackets. If I want to find any sport score, I can go to ESPN and find that sport score on any day that they're playing in any venue for whatever. I know that I can go to one place and find that score always, and that's the way it needs to be, because that just makes sense. It works for the rest of the world. It just makes sense. Also, there needs to be uniform game types, and I understand this is going to vary with the games as the way they're manufactured, but make it a rule, and then it will be followed by the developer. You can say search and destroy or search and rescue. I would rather have rescue. I think it adds an element. Whatever. Search and destroy is one game type, and it's always going to be used forever, and that's pretty much the way it is. Also, capture the flag. Capture the flag needs to be in every game. It at least needs to be there as an option that can be selected on LAN connections, so that it can be used for the tournaments, whether it's open to the public or not, whether the developer thinks it's a good thing or not. Let them know that this needs to happen. The National Football League has uniform football rules. The football has to be specific. In baseball, the baseball has to be specific down to the stitch. Why can't you say we have to have this because it's uniform to Major League Gaming? You're going to need a third, whether that's hardpoint domination or blitz, whatever. You're going to need a third that needs to stay in the game all the time and forever. And that's something that you have to work out with the developers. A lot of people would like to see hardpoint come back, even though I didn't see that many people in the lobbies whenever I was looking through the lobbies in Black Ops 2. But it was innovative. It was cool. Blitz is innovative. It's cool. Maybe you open it up to a fourth game type. That would be great. But whatever it is that you choose and decide, make it uniform, just like your best of 3, your best of 5 is fairly uniform and well understood in the people that watch your tournaments. And this is what I think you're missing. The last thing that I would like to bring up is that there is no record keeping. It's not there. The color commentators and the commentators in any other sport look back to the records. They look back to the statistics from last season, from last game, from last dynasty, and they bring these things up and they point them out, and everyone knows that they can hang their hat on this many victories or on this many kills or whatever. And those statistics are not, they're not displayed, they're not put out there. The commentators don't have those readily available, if they're even being kept at all, and I doubt they can be. After all, it changes from year to year as far as what game types are being played, and I understand the game changes year to year, but if there was uniformity in these other things, then the statistics would match up, they'd line up, and they'd be available. This product is a wonderful product. It's a great product, and it's a product I believe in. I believe that this CoD eSports, among other esports, is going to grow, and it's going to gain a lot of momentum. Putting the groundwork on now, putting it down now, so that you can start carrying these statistics forever matters. After all, how many people out there know the statistics for their teams in every other sport, and we all need to have the ability to look those up for bragging rights and for reasons to get behind one team or another. It doesn't matter what those teams are. If the roster changes between every single tournament, this is a loss of traction. Understand friction, not trying to cause grief with anyone, but the rosters need to stay the same. And these things implemented would make this sport grow. After all, how many people does each player take with them from one team to another, because there seems to be no loyalty between one team and the next as far as the players are concerned. Those are my thoughts. If you have more, as someone who is watching this video, if you agree, leave comments down below and send this to Major League Gaming. Send it to people that may listen. Let's try to get this sport as big as it can be, because it could be a wonderful thing that we can all learn from and enjoy together. Thanks. Have a great day.